Welcome to a new update. Today we discuss the topic of altcoins and we're going to have an overview of where the altcoins actually are and which altcoins I am personally looking at if we screen the markets, as the markets are currently a flatliner. There's not really much happening. The markets are boring. We've had a 30k test, we've had a 28.5k test within 1 week. And we are basically waiting for the ETF to come around, and we are waiting for the markets to pick up momentum, which most likely is not going to come from August, most likely into the end of August of September or the beginning of September. That is when the markets are going to pick up momentum, as now it's holiday time, which means that you should be relaxing, you should be staying into your positions and just holding off. The title of today is "Are Altcoins Dead?" And that is what you get on social media. That is what the current momentum says, or at least the sentiment is saying. And that's what you always get when markets are still consolidating, because every rally people expect it to come down to retest the lows, because that is always what has been happening in the past 2 years. But at some point it doesn't have to. So are altcoins dead? No, of course not. They are not. The altcoins are still looking like we can continue moving from here. We can start picking up momentum, especially if Ethereum is going to have a futures ETF that is coming around. Before we continue, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also check out my partnership with Bybit. If you are from the Netherlands, make sure to get your account before August 17, because after that moment, Binance has the ability to erase your account. So swap towards Bybit. Get $43 if you deposit $300 within 7 days, and make sure that your money is safe instead of on an exchange that can do everything with it. Now, when we're looking at the markets, the first step that I want to do in this update is that I want to describe the view on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just consolidating. We are going sideways. I've been mentioning a case of a potential party. We didn't get that party, so we're just consolidating. Technically speaking, if we have a sweep of these lows, which is one of the scenarios at 28.3, that is definitely, for me at least, a long area, because then we're just having a standard consolidation here, resulting in a potential and likely breakout to the upside. On the other hand, just like we have been seeing in the previous correction, you usually are going to get resistance points where you can't break through. Here we couldn't break through this entire daily block. Here we've got the resistance that we have been facing, and we couldn't break through this entire area here, the second resistance zone. After that we started to sweep lower, especially after taking the liquidity here. Another retest took place in which we can't break through this area, so that's how you define the crucial level of resistance that we have to break through. And as a matter of fact, this entire block, that's the area that we started to break through on the upside, which means that then you probably are going to take all these highs. If you look at the current structure is quite similar. We've got this entire range here, or at least this red area of resistance, which we have been testing for a few times already. We couldn't break through it, which means that the actual party, which we've also been seeing in the previous case here, so we break up, consolidate, and then we start to move. The party starts if we get a clear close in this area and flip off the 29.8k level. If we do that, that is a moment that we almost definitely start to test this range high at 31.5, and then you can start looking at, okay, what are we going to look at for potential next TPs? I think we break through 32.5, so then I'm looking at 37k next, or potentially even 45k, because that's the moment when the real move starts to take place, which is comparable to what we've witnessed here in 2017. All right, so pre-halving we most likely have one more push. It doesn't mean we need to have a heavy correction or what else. We're still making higher lows, higher highs, and that's also the picture that we are getting on the total market cap. So what do we see? We see a similar case. So we've got this momentum here towards the peak high in November. We've got a clear rejection taking place, through which we've got into this area here and couldn't break through it. right? We've got a very heavy drop south, which means that we're making lower highs, lower lows, through which this is the crucial area that we couldn't break through. But that's still the case at this point actually. But we've been making new higher lows here as we surrender or we keep off the momentum here, which we are flipping by this higher low and by this higher low. So technically speaking, we are making higher lows, higher highs, which means that in between, or at least if we break through this high here at 1.26 trillion, the chances are that we even are going to run towards here in the next push. That is a 2x. Alright, so then pre-halving we might even get there, but conservative approach is probably this area. But at least as long as we stay above this high at 1 trillion approximately, we are fine and we are going to continue the momentum. Bitcoin dominance, looking at the weekly candles, still repeating pattern, not much of an update to make here. We're still fighting the 200-week EMA and SMA. We are making a weekly candle that suggests that next week we're going to fall on the Bitcoin dominance, or at least we are in a topping procedure. I think if we drop beneath 48.5% for the altcoins, that's when we really start to have a fall. So which altcoins are we currently looking at? I'm going to discuss three. First one is Chainlink, which is still technically in this range. The chances are that we have been making the retest at the lows and we have been taking liquidity there. We reclaimed the level. So technically speaking, we are above the 200-day AMA and 200-day EMA. We are making again a higher low here. So technically speaking, there's a very high chance that we're going to take out the liquidity above these highs. And that's going to be a big push in terms of momentum. So technically speaking, if you want to get yourself into entry positions, these are the zones which you should be looking at. Which is if we get a dip in the supply zone, that is where you want to get it, because in the coming weeks the momentum is gonna be there. If we're looking at some other altcoins, there's definitely an argument to make that Dogecoin is gonna have some rally, especially with all the hype around X at this point. We can start looking at an entry point here, and firstly we've been making higher lows here too. So if we get another higher low at 7.2 cents, which we have been doing, and we start breaking above the 200-day MA and EMA, this is most likely going to keep on having the momentum towards 9.5 cents. And the final altcoin that I'm looking at is Shiva, which is currently having its momentum. So as long as we consolidate and have continuation of it, I think the chances are quite clear that we're going to have some more momentum. So right now we are in a stage where the markets are boring. So this update is short too, but you should get yourself positions into them because sentiment switches really fast. And sentiment switching is what we have been seeing when it comes to XRP. We've seen the rally taking place here, and we've seen that we're getting into entry zones again for XRP. Take them, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you again on Tuesday. Ciao!